Today we're going to be joined by Jessica Jane Robinson, a really special person who is a climate activist, an educator, a performer, a superhero, an author, and many more things. And we're going to hear about turning your own passion for activism into action and how you can build a life doing that. But first, I want to start off with a little teaser for our upcoming Wild and Scenic Film Festival on tour, where Jessica will be a guest speaker. So it's another option to come and see her. Every year, the South Yuba River Citizens League hosts a film festival as a fundraiser, and then they create an on-tour component for other nonprofits to have their own fundraiser. So we're going to show a Best of Fest film selection in South Lake Tahoe on Earth Day, April 22nd, in the gorgeous Boathouse Theater at Historic Valhalla, which is a beautiful historic site on the lake. And prior to that, we have a spring bounty dinner at 5 p.m. kicking off the evening. It's a big fundraiser for the Alliance, and you can see this gorgeous dining space in the Grand Hall there at Valhalla. So please join us. This is the link for our tickets, and we can drop that in the comments as well. Dinner doors open at 5, and then the film festival starts at 7. You can buy tickets for one or both, and we would really love to see you. Dinner guests will have the pleasure of seeing Jessica speak about her newest film, which is in production right now, about a coffee cup borrowing program out of Truckee. So we're really excited to see her twice. And as for today, I'm going to let Jessica take it away.
So I will be sharing my story. It's an interesting one, I would say, of how I became an environmental advocate and a superhero. And I always like to start my presentations with one of my favorite quotes, which is "The roots of war in the 21st century will be to gain access to the shrinking base of natural resources. Zero waste is the new peace movement." And that was said by Eric Lombardi. He's a part of the zero waste movement. And in the beginning of my zero waste career, I heard that quote, and it has stuck with me ever since. But I will first share how, I'll first share my background, who I am, and then I'll go into how I got started and what I'm currently working on and how I spread my advocacy around to various communities.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Jane Robinson. I am the CEO and founder of Resilience Birthright Inc. and Productions. I'd like to share my story with you, a tale about the humble beginnings of a real superhero. My alter ego, Resilience, is the first female of color superhero addressing a real environmental emergency with solutions that people can actively participate in every day.
So my superhero name is Resilience, and Resilience basically stands for coming out of challenging times and being resilient, being able to transform and get back on track. And so that is the purpose of my work, is just to help communities and individuals and organizations get back on track when it comes to moving towards the future, but then also keeping our planet and our community and our people in mind.
I have been on my heroes. I trained under Damon John from Shark Tank and his team of specialized
problems.
I have been on my hero's journey for a while now. There have been many victories along the way and fun stories I can share with you all someday upon your request. Most recent accomplishments were in 2019, when my alter ego Resilience was co-MC for San Francisco Earth Day, and my superhero poster was on Muni buses in San Francisco. I had just moved to San Francisco that year, and seeing my poster on buses drive by me made me feel like a full-fledged movie star. Then, later in 2019, I had my first live TV interview on ABC 7 News. I spoke about zero waste. I was then invited to speak with a group of like-minded NGOs at the United Nations. A dream come true. My nonprofit is currently being reviewed as a potential partnership for the UN and its Sustainable Development Goals.
And actually, so my nonprofit has been accepted by the United Nations. So that is an updated part to that little intro. But a little bit more about my background. I'm from a little island in the Bay called Alameda, and it is definitely impacted. It's vulnerable to climate change and sea level rise. And both my parents raised me in the Bay Area in Alameda. And I started off as a small town girl, and I graduated from the University of San Francisco in performing arts and social justice. And after that, I started to engage in what's next? What am I going to do with my life? And I grew up in the arts. My father was a reggae artist, and my mother was also involved in the reggae industry and also promoting and producing the arts as well as other things. So I learned a lot from both my parents' backgrounds and being raised by both of them, as well as others that helped raise me during my journey. And all of this information that I've received from my parents and my other extended family members, I have been able to package it into my career. And music had a huge influence on the foundation of what I have now. After I graduated from the University of San Francisco, I did an internship for my godfather, who's a reggae artist, Rankin Screw, and I was his office manager. And from that experience, I learned how to manage databases, how to update tour schedules and guides, but all of these fundamental techniques that I learned helping Rankin Screw release his album Solid basically was a foundation that I launched to basically manage my own career. So the arts, entertainment has been a huge influence with everything that I do, but I've always had a drive for humanitarian issues and environmental issues. I don't like to see suffering, and I've always, as a child, have been very sensitive. And so I like to find solutions, and I like to entertain, and I like to see people happy. So that has been some of my driving forces behind my work, which was the seeds for everything else that I will be sharing with you all. Let's see if I can get this to go.
I trained under Damon John from Shark Tank and his team of specialized entrepreneurs to develop a successful business model for my company. Please enjoy the pitch I created for them with you.
So a little bit before I get into this. So when I graduated from the University of San Francisco, I became Miss Alameda in a pageant, which I'll be sharing a little bit further down the line. But those were the seeds that manifested my my project and my programs, which is under the Resilience Birthright Incorporated and Productions. So please.
My name is Jessica Jane Robinson, the CEO and founder of Resilience Birthright, a transmedia project producing a graphic novel with the goal of educating consumers to being environmentally responsible. Resilience Birthright is the first female of color superhero fighting a real global emergency, climate change, with the message of zero waste, sustainability, and encouraging individual and collective enlightenment. Comic books and graphic novels are a billion-dollar industry, 90 million going digitally. Turning the graphic novel into a web series has the potential to gross $250,000 to $1.5 million per episode. The graphic novel will be sold on Lulu's self-publishing for $25. $10 will go to print and operating systems, and the $15 in royalties will go towards the pilot TV show budget. Selling 8,000 copies will generate $120,000 in profit for the pilot episode budget. The Resilience story is based off of my journey and experience being a local public figure in the city of Alameda as Miss Alameda USA, working with my local government and community to address our climate protection plan and expanding my work and expertise throughout the greater Bay Area. I am also one of Vice President Al Gore's top climate leaders in the top 1% out of 10,812 climate leaders worldwide. I have presented to over 17,000 adults and children since 2012. Resilience Birthright has been endorsed by global humanitarian His Holiness Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, who has over 300 million following worldwide and has a character in the graphic novel series. And Vince De Quattro, one of George Lucas's original crew members from Industrial Light and Magic, as a project advisor. I'm seeking a mentor and business partner.
Well, that is just a quick little video that kind of gives an overview of the work that I.
Now that you heard my pitch, here's.
So
Now that you heard my
sorry
pitch.
about this.
Now that you heard my
Oh, wow.
pitch, here's my humble story. I took my role as Miss Alameda so seriously, my platform became a program for the city of Alameda, helping get schools, businesses, and the community to recycle and compost.
Okay, so I have, as you can tell, I have little voice inserts to introduce the slides to make it more dynamic. But yes, it all began when I became Miss Alameda after I graduated from the University of San Francisco and ended my internship with my godfather. And I was very serious about my platform. I didn't just want to be a voice on stage, but I actually wanted to make a difference. And so I started reaching out to local community members in Alameda to see if there was anything that I could actually do. And I was very fortunate to be advised by former advisors of previous mayors of Alameda, as well as other folks that just helps with nonprofit organizations in the Bay Area. And they helped me channel all of my ideas into something that was tangible for the city of Alameda.
Miss Alameda Says Compost paved the way for Alameda to be one of the leaders in innovative zero waste citywide programs in the state of California.
So I met my mentor, Ruth Abbey, who is the president of Zero Waste USA. And I think it was in 2010. And I told her that I wanted to help the environment. I was Miss Alameda and I wanted to do something for the city of Alameda. And Ruth said, well, we need to get organics out of the landfill. And I thought she was making it super easy for me. I was ready to take on all the litter that's in the ocean. I wanted to tackle the plastic gyre. I wanted to do something big. And I thought she was giving me something minuscule by saying we need to get folks to compost and recycle. But little did I realize that what she was saying was very true. And it is a huge challenge. And it's actually not that easy. But that was how I got started with Miss Alameda Says Compost, which was a program, a pilot program for the city of Alameda to get restaurants and schools and businesses to recycle and compost. And after about 4 years of the program running, which we were providing free internal containers, free training, and helping coordinate with the city and the businesses to make sure that all the nuances were running smoothly, because we were literally changing routes, hauler routes, and just people's everyday patterns, and asking them to do change voluntarily, because at this time it wasn't a law. After 4 years, my program was diverting 1,100 tons from the landfill and avoiding 1,300 metric tons of emissions from the atmosphere. And it was also saving businesses around collectively around $58,000 annually. So that was pretty big for a little small town girl doing just community advocacy under the title of Miss Alameda.
The experience and results of my program gave me the inspiration that later became the concept for my superhero graphic novel series and my carbon calculator.
So after the mass program success, after about 4 or 5 years, I was awarded the local climate hero award, which was a really big deal for me. And what really stuck out to me for the 5 years of dedication was that my program was diverting 1,321 carbon metric tons from the atmosphere. And so doing the conversion, that was equivalent of 242 cars off the road. And so that got me thinking, if someone like a small town girl like me can help get change to happen in my community, that's equivalent of removing 242 cars off the road. If everybody started putting things together as a collective, how we would be able to mitigate some of these challenges that we face when it comes to climate change and our natural resources, the extraction of our natural resources, the damage that we're doing to our natural habitats. So it just really got me thinking. And this was the seed of everything that I did from this point out, from my school's program, my graphic novel series, my carbon calculator, my community advocacy and outreach. All of this was the foundation for everything else that I'll be sharing with you.
So I thought, if compost makes you a hero, why not be a superhero for climate change?
Now, one thing about composting that I really want to emphasize, and this is like one of my drivers, which is really how I got started, which turned me into a superhero, was the fact that when we compost, we're actually avoiding greenhouse gases, methane gas. And when I first got started, I was quoting methane gas to be about 70 times more harmful than carbon dioxide emitted from cars. And I was telling children that it stayed in the atmosphere for about 23 years. But the science has actually exposed that methane gas can actually stay in the atmosphere up to 100 years or longer. So over 10 years ago, I was telling children, oh, it can stay, if you throw away an apple in the landfill, like the methane can stay in the atmosphere for 20 years. But now they're saying it could be even longer than that, like times that by 5. So the wonderful thing about diverting our food waste and also saving our resources, but let's just focus on compost. When we compost, we're allowing it to be turned into a soil additive, and compost actually holds carbon. It's a part of the sequestration, and it also supports the soil, so trees can grow more roots, actually absorb more CO2 from the atmosphere. There's so many benefits to compost. And after all the research that I've been doing over the years, trying to understand what's happening to the planet, why we have so many environmental issues, a lot of patterns that I was picking up with was the changing of our ecosystems, whether it's micro or macro, and topsoil. There's been so many reports of topsoil being depleted of nutrition and resources, which is why our food doesn't have as much of the resources or nutrition that it should. And it just, the list goes on and on. But I started to think, well, if we just got everybody to just start composting and just start really being mindful of the products and the materials that we're using on a local and a global scale, this could help correct a lot of these issues fairly simply without having to do anything super crazy. It's just going back to the basics.
So began my hero's journey.
So I have a little short that I'm going to play for you. This is the story of Resilience Birthright. It goes a little bit more into how I created resilience. And the photo that you see on this slide was my first time speaking at the United Nations in 2019. And I was myself as Resilience, which was really exciting. I was walking around the United Nations conference in my superhero outfit, and that was pretty spectacular.
This all started when I participated in the Miss California USA pageant as Miss Alameda in 2010. And I didn't just want to be a voice on stage, I actually wanted to walk my talk. So I turned my platform about sustainability into a program called Miss Alameda Says Compost, MASK. And MASK turned into a short film, to be exact, to reach a broader audience. So I created a superhero named Recycle Woman. And then in 2012, I became a climate leader under Al Gore, and I started doing more extensive research on climate change and the impact climate change has here in the Bay Area and around the world and what's really causing it. And from there, my concept evolved and resilience was born. Resilience Birthright is a graphic novel about real-life challenges we face today and how we can solve them through storytelling. Some of the characters and scenes are based off of real heroes and grassroots success stories. I wanted to get people inspired and plugged into ways that they can make a difference every day, based off of the trailblazers who are making a difference right now.
Community Action for a Sustainable Alameda has been working with Jessica Robinson to improve the health and environment for the residents and businesses of Alameda since 2005. Jessica has led the way on the Miss Alameda Says Compost project, helping restaurants to recycle and compost. She's also worked with our youth on multifamily recycling and composting, the ethical fashion show, and the concerts at the Cove so that all residents, businesses, and visitors to Alameda will learn how to be more sustainable.
Jessica's proven time and time again in the past 5-10 years I've worked with her that she can put together executive and creative and she can get projects finished. This is, I think, the most important thing with any messaging, and Jessica has delivered realistic projects that have been implemented time and time again, and I'm really super excited to be helping her in this next stage in her sustainability messaging.
The goal is to make this story come to life so that it's relevant, so that people can relate and understand that this is something that we can connect to and actually make a difference right here, right now, today.
So that's a little more in depth of my story. Next slide.
Recycle Woman
So as I shared in the previous video, I started off with
was my clever solution to combine my passion as an artist and actress while addressing my platform as Miss Alameda. I thought this short film would be a demo reel I could use for acting auditions while sharing the importance of zero waste. Little did I know that.
See if I can turn this off. Sorry about the technical challenges, everyone. Are we good?
Recycle Woman was my clever solution to combine my passion as an artist and actress while addressing my platform as Miss Alameda. I thought this short film would be a demo reel I could use for acting auditions while sharing the importance of zero waste. Little did I know that my short film would be so well received that Recycle Woman would be invited to work in schools.
So after I released Recycle Woman, we had a local theater release. And it wasn't a red carpet, it was actually a green carpet. And I'll just share a little story to kind of explain of like how passionate I am and how passionate I was back then. But right before my movie release, I was running with my dog and we were running down the beach and I was thinking about my movie screening, and that it was supposed to be a red carpet event. And I ran by this green carpet. It was just like an abandoned green carpet in my neighborhood. And I was just like, a green carpet. I want to upcycle this green carpet and have like a green carpet at the movie theater. So I went and grabbed my car. I picked up this carpet and I went over to Strauss Carpeting, which is like down the road from Alameda, and I asked Mr. Strauss if he would cut the carpet down on the middle and like create this like long green carpet, and it would be upcycled and it would be a part of like the theme and everything. And Mr. Strauss was just like, you know, Miss Robinson, I understand your vision. I don't know if I want to use this carpet. He was like, but I'll sponsor you your own green carpet and we'll make it out of recycled bottles. So Mr. Strauss actually donated this big, long green carpet that was upcycled from plastic straw, or not plastic straws, plastic water bottles, that I later donated to Girls Inc. in Alameda, because they have taken, they have adopted one of the programs that I worked with, one of my teen interns, called the Ethical Fashion Show. And so we would use the green carpet for that as well. So I donated the green carpet to Girls Inc. of the Island City. But I will show you a little teaser of Recycle Woman and then we will move on. But Recycle Woman was really the seed for resilience. And once we actually had the movie screening at the Alameda Theater, over 300 people showed up. It was quite overwhelming in a good way, but the lobby was packed.
I received my first mission from an audience member who had watched Recycle Woman during its debut at the Alameda Theater. I was told, Al Gore must see Recycle Woman. No sooner had I accepted my first quest that I found myself becoming a climate leader the same day I jumped in front of Al Gore's bodyguards and hand-delivered Recycle Woman, the DVD, directly into Mr. Gore's hand. Don't worry, no one was hurt. Everyone was too shocked about the small lady flying by the guards to respond or react.
So this is a true story. Like I said, I'm very passionate, and especially when I was younger, I took everything very seriously, probably a little too seriously. So I had wrote Al Gore a few times trying to get him to see my short film. And I was getting some responses, but it wasn't directly from Mr. Gore. But because of that, I became a part of their newsletter, and I was receiving email notifications about updates on Climate Reality Project and all of their activities. And then it was in 2012, I received an email saying that they were having a climate leader training in Burlingame. And usually they have climate leader trainings throughout the world, like in Africa, China, Indonesia, like they go all over. But this time they were having in Burlingame, my backyard. And so I submitted an application. I didn't know if they would accept me. And then next thing I know, they accepted me. And like literally next thing I know, I am going over to be trained as a climate leader. And simultaneously, while this was happening, I was also in the process of securing one of my contracts to work in schools and actually bring Recycle Woman to the schools, because when people saw Recycle Woman at the movie theater, they were saying like, this needs to be in schools. We need to have this messaging in the schools. And once again, I took all of this feedback seriously and I went with it. And so the same time that I was being trained as a climate leader, they were saying that we need to bring this messaging to the schools, that the kids need to understand what's happening to the planet. And ironically, I was already getting my feet wet in that area. So it was all in alignment. But yes, in this photo, I'm sitting right here where the little thought bubble is, and Al Gore is in the middle. And after we took a photo and everything, I waited to see if there was an opportunity to hand deliver my DVD. I was too shy to do it directly when we were walking by him. And plus, like, the ushers were telling us to keep going. And so I waited, and then I jumped in front of his bodyguards and just handed him the DVD. Nothing happened. No one tackled me, but everybody was stunned, including myself. And yeah, it was pretty crazy, but I did it. So mission accomplished. And then I also became one of the top climate leaders after that. So yeah, the rest is history.
After becoming an Al Gore climate leader, I began extensive research on the cause of climate change and other devastations to the planet. Realizing the name Recycle Woman put limitations on my superhero reach, I changed her name to Resilience after I had a dream which later became my origin story.
So yes, in the process of developing Recycle Woman and doing research about climate change and the origins of climate change, like what is actually causing climate change, which I do truly believe after everything that I've researched, it really has a lot to do with human behavior, especially when we devastate ecosystems. So it's just really about restoring our planet, restoring our habitats, and making sure that when we are consuming and operating on a local or global level, that we are giving back to our environment so that we maintain a balance. But this is a quick little film on what it means to be an Earth warrior, which is my theme for resilience and my carbon calculator, which we'll get into shortly.
To be an Earth warrior means to stand up for life on the planet in peace and love and integrity, to stand firm for what we believe is right, to protect our clean water, air, the animals, the trees, the plants, the marine life, all life on this planet, because we need everything to be in balance so that we may also thrive. To be an Earth warrior means to stand in love and integrity and in peace to defend our home. Yep, that's right. The origin story came from my dream, page 33 to be exact. I started writing the series in 2014. I woke up at 4 a.m. and wrote for 4 hours each day for 2 months, completing season 1 of my graphic novel web series script.
So yeah, I was waking up at 4 a.m. I was writing my graphic novel series between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. every day for about 3 months. And I wrote 13 chapters for my graphic novel series for season 1. It was quite a journey. And every day that I got up to write, I had no clue what was going to come out of me, like what I was going to type on the page. But to my amazement, I actually wrote a full season. And it has been a slow production, but I'm really getting excited about releasing chapter 2 and 3 of my graphic novel. I work with amazing artists and very talented. And so there's so many projects that are coming down the pipeline, but what I'm sharing with you is all the seeds of what is being manifested right now. And so what you see on this slide is a picture of my first graphic novel, which is the origin story, which is the origin background story for my superhero Resilience. And then on the right is me as Resilience holding my San Francisco Earth Day poster. And that poster was on Muni buses in 2019. It was really cool to see Muni buses drive by with me, my superhero, smack dab on them.
2020 was a massive shock for the entire world. I was forced to take a break due to California lockdowns. After a month and a half of uncertainty, I decided to invest in my dreams and finally produce my pilot episode. I came to realize life is too short and I don't want my stories to pass away locked in my heart. After all, I had the time, my car was parked, the money that would have gone into my commute became the funding for episode 1 web series filmed in Tahoe inside a teepee, stables, and outside trails. With the help of my Resilience family, 2 actors, and 2 cameras, Lights, camera, action.
So true story, in 2020, I grabbed my friends and my team and I just said, hey, everyone, I don't want to just give up. Like, I felt at that time that when everything shut down, I just felt like my work was going to stop. There was going to be no revival. And I didn't want that to be a reality. So I decided to take matters into my own hands and just move forward. And so my friend in Tahoe, I love Tahoe. It's my second home. My friend in Tahoe had property, and I asked him if we could film on his property, and he said yes. And he also had a degree in photography, so it was perfect. And so two of my friends that are actors and also artists and performers, and they have their own platforms and are well known on their own. They agreed to support me, and they came to Tahoe and we filmed and we had a blast, and it was really meaningful to me because it was a sign that no matter what, we won't give up on our dreams and we will fulfill our purpose on this planet. Yes.
The Carbon Calculator is a tool for fans of the graphic novel and web series to take on call to actions to make a difference in real life, thus becoming heroes in their own lives and helping heal the planet. The Carbon Calculator is my 9-year-old brainchild, inspired by the humble beginnings of Miss Alameda Says Compost. I felt that if people could understand that their daily actions can be a positive impact and reduce carbon emissions, we can inspire people to make the sustainable changes needed to help heal our world.
So my Carbon Calculator is another feature to everything that I'm creating and that I've created. So one little extra note about me is that I'm a little bit of a nerd. I do a lot of research. I overthink, but when I use these tools and these talents that I have towards, something good, it manifests into something useful, like my Carbon Calculator. So after obsessing about what it takes for people to make changes in their daily lives, ways to motivate them, ways to make it normal, ways to, reverse bad habits of just single-use consumption, littering, plastic waste, just not being mindful, not realizing how we are impacting the planet, the environment, becoming just more aware. I was also thinking about motivating tools, because as I was working in schools, I would share my messaging and I would have parents and teachers and students come to me and say, okay, I get it. If we understand why we need to do this at the school or at home, but we're just so many people. There are like so many billions of people on this planet. What type of impact do we actually make if we're just a small group of people? And that was the seed of my Carbon Calculator, because one of the motivating factors for me to keep going was realizing after 5 years, my work was equivalent of removing 242 cars off the road each year. So for me, that was like, wow, I did that. And I thought, well, if other people had access to the same type of information, would they also be motivated to realize, no, this does make a difference. It can add up. And as we move forward, we can make a difference. So that was the seed conception of my Carbon Calculator, which is a zero waste tool that allows people to track their sustainable actions, and it will calculate it and tell them how much carbon metric tons they've avoided. And there's also community features, so people can join communities and do collective movements together and actually see as a collective how quickly we can actually help mitigate some of these issues as a group, either group or individual settings. And the calculator can be set up in many different ways where you can actually track over time how much contribution goes to the whole. But yeah, it's the Carbon Calculator was my brainchild. It took me years to manifest, but I did it, and it is my patent.
Feel free to check out more of my songs, videos, and TV interviews.
Okay, so right now, some of my latest projects that I have, which Leah had mentioned, was a program called Okapi Reusable. This is my latest program. I am working with an organization called Okapi Reusables, and they are a borrowing cup program. So instead of customers getting paper or plastic to-go cups at a cafe, they can actually check out their drink in a reusable and then return it to any participating cafe. And I have interns, and we have been working on a little short called Story of the Cup, which is a spin-off of Story of Stuff. And so we are going to be sharing the story of the cup journey, the cup's life cycle, which consumers use a single-use disposable cup for maybe 20 minutes and then throw it away, but most people don't think about the actual resources that go into these items that they just use one time and then toss. And so that's what we're trying to raise awareness, is like, do we really need specific materials to just use one time and throw away? Are there other alternatives that we could possibly use that are maybe better choices? It's not about shaming, but it's just about making conscious choices when we can, when we have the ability to. And so that is what's coming down the pipeline, is Story of the Cup, as well as my first web episode and more of my graphic novel series, but they're all have the same meaning and messaging behind them, which is just to encourage people to be aware of how powerful they are, and that we do have the power to change our planet for the better. And let's see, I think actually, yes, here's one of my songs.
Camera's rolling. Let's roll sound.
Film this in Tahoe.
Where do we come from? Where are we going?
So hum.
Where do we come from? Where are we going?
So hum.
Where do we come from? Where are we going?
So hum.
Where do we come from? Where are we going?
So hum. A billion miles of travel, lost from my planet like a yarn unraveled. Found a thread back home, a world that knows that we're all interwoven. Fire, water, earth, air, the warring, the peaceful, death, the birth. I knew I had a purpose to clean up this wasteland, Earth's fiery furnace. But little did I know what a battle it would be, what a battle it would be, what a battle it would be. For your wrist, to be an earth for your wrist, to be an earth for your wrist, like an army laid down your weapons. To be an earth for your wrist, be a movement. To be an earth for your wrist, restore the planet. To be an earth for your wrist, be a movement. Earth warrior, peace warrior. That's when the trees taught me how to breathe. And then I learned how to breathe. I learned how to be.
Yeah.